Debunked, rehabilitated, and real entertaining. This is the Carl Jackson Podcast.
All right, guys, welcome to the Carl Jackson Show podcast. You know where to find me. Subscribe, Apple, Google, Spotify, YouTube, and Rumble to the podcast, thecarljacksonshow.com, SalemPodcastNetwork.com. Find me on social media at The Carl Jackson Show. Here's what I want to talk about today. I want to get to this really quickly. I'm going to make this a short. The Georgia runoff is tomorrow. It is very, very, very important. I ran across a column on The Hill. The Hill, all of you know, that is not a right wing. All right. It's not a right wing publication, but they explain why it's so important for the Democrats to win the seat. And what I will do in this podcast is I'll give you the comparison of what Republicans need to do or why it's so important for Republicans to win the Georgia Senate seat. Herschel Walker must win this seat. It is so crucial. Let me give you the reasons that Democrats explain. This is Niall Stanage on The Hill, writing for the Hill, but he outlines 5 reasons why the Georgia Senate runoff matters. And again, I'll give you my reasons. Many of these actually match. All right, so we'll talk about those real quick. But the first reason he gives is that the Democrat victory would reduce Manchin and Sinema's leverage. Right. So he doesn't want Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema to have leverage to be able to stop far left wing radical legislation. They had that type of authority or that type of power since the Senate is currently split 50-50. All right. Obviously, the Herschel Walker, Raphael Warnock race will decide if the Senate remains a 50-50 split. But he wants to be able to dilute Sinema and Manchin's power. Now, they claim to be moderates. They are not moderate, but they are, I guess, more moderate than the radical leftists that exist within the Democrat Party. They were able to use their leverage to get concessions on basically the mini version of the Green New Deal. So that's very important. So that's what the left wants to do. They want to weaken their power. The second thing that he says is important, and again, this is coming from the left, former President Trump has a lot at stake. Now, here's what they believe, that this election will either say, basically paraphrasing, that Trump is still relevant or Trump isn't. And that is something that they're very concerned about. They want Trump to go bye-bye. The left does. So does the Republican establishment. But they want the 45th president to go bye-bye. But if Herschel Walker wins this seat, because Herschel Walker is handpicked by former President Trump, then it will speak volumes to President Trump's influence still. And that's something that they're concerned. That is something that they're concerned about. Also, it'll give Mitch McConnell more power to be able to maneuver within the Senate because there will be a 50-50 tie. So here's something that's probably most important. And this is something that where we match and we do not defer on whatsoever. This is extremely important. Senate committees are more important than they sound. They're more important than most people realize. So if there's a 50-50 split in the Senate, this is where we are now, then the committee assignments, the chairmanships, the leaderships of those committees have to be split 50-50. All right. However, if Warnock wins the Senate race, pay attention to this, Republicans. If Warnock wins the Senate race, then all of that goes out the window. It's a 49-51 split. That means that the Democrat Party has the true majority. They don't have to split committee assignments. Democrats run every single committee. They can run roughshod all over this country with their radical left-wing policies. Now, thank God we have the House that can deter some of this stuff with the power of the purse, but yet and still, oh man, the Senate will be powerful. They will see the left, not the Democrat Party, or I should say the left within the Democrat Party will hold the White House and the Senate. That is extremely powerful. The first thing, or another thing that Democrats are concerned of, and this is a match for us as well, is they face a grim Senate map in 2024. And we want to make sure as conservatives and Republicans that they remain scared. All right. So here's the deal. In 2024, you have 23 seats that are up for grabs, 23 Democratic Senate seats that are up for grabs compared to the Republicans' 10 seats that are up for grabs. So essentially, if Biden continues to run this country into the ground, which he will, then Democrats have much more seats to defend. We can start building on victories as Republicans for 2024. This is exactly what the left is afraid of, right? So they need a momentum. This race is a momentum shift for them, not just for 2022, but for 2024. That's very, very important for them. He says here, Democrats performed at the top end of expectations to keep the Senate this year, but they face an ever more difficult climb in 2024. It's not just that Democrats have 23 seats to defend in the 2024 cycle compared to the GOP's 10. It's that a whole host of those Democratic seats are serious peril, or are in serious peril, while it is hard to see Republicans losing anywhere. So it could be a bloodbath for Democrats in the 2024 election when it comes to the Senate, assuming that there's no ballot harvesting going on, which there will be on the Democrat side. For Democrats, Manchin and Senator John Tester would have to win re-election, assuming they choose to run in two very red states, West Virginia and now Montana. So these are the things that they're concerned of. Also, there will be a Senate race in Ohio where Senator Sherrod Brown has defied a historic shift towards the GOP before. But could he face hurdles in doing so again? I think so, because I think Ohio is turning more red. I don't think that's necessarily a purple state, or definitely not a blue state. All right, another thing the left is concerned about, the result will reveal more about Georgia's political transition. This is the biggest thing. So a lot of people have been moving into Atlanta. A lot of liberals that want to move to the South, they move to Atlanta. And this is what sucks for Georgia. This is why Georgia has become increasingly purple. And then you get Stacey Abrams, who has done a great job, even though she lost the election, right? She's done a great job of ballot harvesting and or getting people to register to vote. Both, actually, registering people to vote and ballot harvesting. They still do. Listen, I know it's illegal out there. It happens in Georgia. People will tell you. Raphael Warnock, the same. He worked with Stacey Abrams to get voters registered. Republicans don't do a great job at this. That has to change. But the left is concerned. Okay, this will show that Georgia is either a red or purple state. So they're hoping that it shows Georgia is purple, that the left can continue to make inroads in Georgia simply by more liberals moving into Atlanta. And then eventually they have a stronghold on this state, this swing state, turning Georgia blue. All right. So now here are and again, we had a couple of matches. It's a 6-year term instead of 2. So Republicans need to be mindful of that. Do not sit home, Republicans. If this country goes to hell in a handbasket, you have no one but yourself to blame. Again, we'll build on the 2024 election cycle when the Democrats have to defend 23 seats compared to the 10 seats that the GOP have to defend. Those committee seats are important. All right. And again, some of these those committee seats are so important because if we have a 50-50 tie, the Senate chairmanships have to be split, or committee assignments have to be split. If the Democrats win, they don't have to be split. Democrats run the Senate. And again, we get an opportunity, those of us on the right, to put the Democrats on defense where they will have more scrutiny. We get a chance to put Joe Manchin, some serious pressure on Joe Manchin, Kyrsten Sinema, and these senators that are going to be up for re-election, or at least Joe Manchin is. I can't remember if Sinema is, that are going to be up for re-election in just 2 years from now. We want to be able to apply that pressure where it's very difficult for Democrats to say, okay, we're going to bring Vice President Kamala Harris in to break the tie. If we can apply that type of pressure right now, leading up to 2024, I guarantee you there's going to be a lot of weak-kneed senators in the Democrat Party that do not want to lose their jobs, right? That do not want to lose their jobs, that might be saying, hey, I'm not going to vote for this far left-wing radical stuff. This 50th seat is crucial. Even though we will not run the Senate, we will still have virtually equal say in the Senate. All right, guys, I appreciate you tuning in to this short of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. Please get out there and vote for Herschel Walker. Subscribe to my podcast, SalemPodcastNetwork.com, TheCarlJacksonShow.com. Find me on social media, The Carl Jackson Show, and help out my friends at MyPillow.com. Click on that radio listener square, use the promo code Carl, or give them a call, 1-800-858-0263. And until next time, do not grow weary doing good. God bless you.